Great, thank you, and thanks for joining us for the panel that probably has the longest name at this conference. So this is we're going to talk about the Made for Samsung program today, and in particular, how partners, including the four of us, maximized the value of this program to reach users, which is, as developers, something that we're obviously all interested in. But before we dive right into that, I wanted to just kind of ask everybody to think for a moment about why they come to SDC. Maybe this is your first time, maybe you've been before. Kind of having done that myself this morning, I was thinking about, there's really a few things that I found as commonalities with some other folks that I spoke with. One is you want to learn about what's new. You're here for product announcements. Two, you want to get a chance to look around the corner, what's coming. Three, you want to connect with folks from Samsung, engineers, program managers, product managers, et cetera. And kind of what occurred to us backstage just before we came up here is that being part of the Samsung developer program in many ways is kind of like having that every week, which is kind of cool. So it's great to be here at the annual Dev Conference, but being part of this Made for Samsung program, we kind of concurred is it's like you're kind of in that every week, which is kind of neat. So what is the Made for Samsung program? The Made for Samsung program, if you're not familiar, is an opportunity for brands to engage with Samsung to create unique products, often proprietary products that are not available through any other channels. Typically, they will leverage multiple technology sets, work across different groups at Samsung, and are only available through Samsung channels. It's a program that I have been involved in for a few years at this point, representing Yelp, and I know my colleagues have had a chance to do so as well. So before we get too far in, I wanted to take just a real quick moment to introduce ourselves a little further. So hi, I'm David. I'll be your moderator today. I work at Yelp. I'm on the business and corporate development team, and we participate in this program in a number of different ways. We have quite a few different things we're working on with Samsung. Let me just look down here and make sure I remember them all. Am I looking at the right slide? No. There's me. Okay, sorry about that. So we recently launched a product called Yelp for Samsung, which has a really cool, unique feature that we call a city guide. Starting about a month ago, with the launch of the Note 8, we started shipping the Yelp Edge panel. We have a Galaxy Gear application, which last I heard was the #1 performing. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
app on the platform.
Thanks.
And we have a Bixby voice integration as well. So going down the row here, not very sequential. Kevin, it's to you.
Yes, I'm Kevin Crenshaw with the Weather Channel, and we have the Weather Channel Made for Samsung app, which incorporates all of the features in our flagship app. In addition, we also have a weather-based alarm clock, a events feed feature, which will pair weather up with events from your calendar. We also have an Edge panel, Edge panel app, as well as Edge mode for your Edge devices, and apps for the Gear S2 and S3 watches. We also have some partner integrations that we've rolled out, one with TripAdvisor and with Lyft, to pair up with your calendar integration to offer you unique attractions and means to get to and from your events and your calendar.
Great. And next we have Simon.
So I'm the founder, a co-founder and creative director of Pair Sports, and we have the Pair Personal Coach made for Samsung. In essence, it's a smart, interactive fitness coach that coaches you in real time based on where you are in your fitness journey. And we deeply integrate with Samsung wearables because without the wearable, we don't know what the user does or where they are in their journey. So that is absolutely essential for us. And so we have the mobile app, which is really where you get the content. And then we run natively on all Samsung gear, the Gear Fit 2, Gear Fit Pro, Gear Sport, and S3.
Great. Last but not least, Stephen.
Yeah, Steve McAwee. I'm head of product technology at Golf Channel for the digital side of the business. Our Made for Samsung app was focused in the Golf Now business, which is a tee time booking. So, i.e., the area where we allow, we work with our users to play the game of golf. Golf is one of the few sports where you can watch it and go play it. So, key to us is the ability to book, which is our first Samsung app, and then also following what Simon said is, the other big part that we do is wearables. As you know, if you go play golf, you want to track your scoring, track the round, etc. So key to us will be the GPS, and we're very new to the program, probably only a few months in. I've done some promotional things, but really looking forward to taking the next steps.
Great. So just to kind of dive in here, one of the things that we were thinking about at Yelp when we were considering the opportunity to get involved with this program is why, frankly. And there's endless ways that we can spend our developing cycles, our marketing dollars, et cetera. Lots of different ways to reach new customers. Why this program? What was there for you that was attractive? Anybody want to jump in?
As one of the newer people, I'll jump in there. We sort of have like a scale of millions of users, which is key to us. And we have different tiers of users. And at the top tier, as you can imagine, golf is not an inexpensive sport. Mm-hmm. So technology is big in the game of golf. And for us, finding a technology platform that we believe is advanced enough to do the things we want to do with wearable, similar to fully autonomous, use of the watches, et cetera, moving forward. And also just finding a good partner. I mean, we talked with Samsung. I mean, you can imagine we've been approached by many partners. Samsung's just one of those that actually I was saying earlier to our representative that I've never run into a partner that actually pushes us harder than we push them, which is really nice because it's very hard to get partners to engage, but Samsung's been great. So it started with sort of being, directed towards new product, but in the end, it's become bigger and it's a heavier business focus, growing the market, et cetera.
So was it the reach that Samsung brings to bear, or?
I think it's technology and reach. I mean, they have the new App Store, or that's a big part of it. And there are players for us going anywhere that there are users at this scale. Even a 1% increase in the user base is big to us. So that's also another piece.
Yeah.
Sure. And, there are actually multiple benefits for the Weather Channel partnering with Samsung. You have the availability of global reach to expand our global audience. Weather Channel is really well known in the United States, but globally so well. And so to have Samsung's global reach and marketing help in getting our name and our app out there has been a huge help for us. Also, we get close integration work. We've been working very closely with their product design and back-end teams to really help us maximize our app on their devices with the unique feature sets, and working with their teams and getting ideas and kind of improving the overall features that we're offering to their Samsung user base has been huge for us.
Great. Simon, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, for us, the biggest thing was really, because Samsung is really the leader when it comes to wearables. And before this partnership, our users would literally use a heart rate strap, which people hate, right? It's smelly, it's sweaty, especially women absolutely hate this thing. So for us, shifting over to wearables was huge, right? But in order to do that, we really needed access to the raw data of the sensor. We didn't just want the heart rate data as a number, but we needed access to things like heart rate variability. We also needed to be able to do a dual audio track because we want music and coaching at the same time, so we need to be able to duck the music. And these are all things the watch out of the gate didn't do. Mm-hmm. And so with Made for Samsung and their technical teams, they were able to do that, which was essential for our platform.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I can share at Yelp, there were a couple of considerations we had. One was, hey, this is, we have an opportunity to do a lot of things. If we want to grow our Android-based audience, who's the single best partner to work with? And that answer was pretty clear to us, not just from a US perspective, where a lot of our customer acquisition is focused, but also from a global perspective. Yelp operates in 33 countries, and we knew that as we wanted to focus our customer acquisition efforts into other territories out of the US and Canada, that's a partner that we could potentially scale with. Another thing that it's kind of a riff, I think, on what you said, Kevin, is that there are some interesting opportunities to put things in market that are unique and see what happens. They might not be things that you can release on your vanilla apps, but somebody has a passion for it, and it's a great way to get new features into market with perhaps less scrutiny from the product team. Would be one way I would summarize it. So we're all working pretty closely with Samsung. It sounds like. Let's just actually quickly. So you have 4 different products that you're working on with Samsung. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And you have 3, and Simon, you have 2. Is that right?
Yeah.
Kind of. Right. Again, I think at Yelp we're doing I think 4 going on 5. So working closely with partners can deliver quite a range of experiences, let's say. How has it been working with Samsung? I mean, you're in there, you're talking about product features, you're negotiating who's going to do the work, you're negotiating what the product's going to look and feel like, and how many Samsung logos are going to be in your interface. Sorry, Samsung.
Well, the number of logos we'll leave to our product team, but working with Samsung has been great because they've participated in our design thinking labs, have designers come on into the lab with us, and really help to distill down from a basic, just overall high-level idea and distill that down into an actual feature that can bring value to our user base and really help us come up with ideas for everything from look and feel to overall flow and functionality, UI and UX, et cetera. So working closely with them through our process to distill ideas down into value-adding features has been really a great add for us.
Steven, so you have some features coming down the pipe that I've heard might be integrating with some technologies. How's that going, and what's that working relationship like?
It's been really good compared to a lot of other ones we've had. We've never had this much access into a partner. For us, when you're talking at the technology level, there's product level, which is really more tactical and working month to month. But at the strategic level, you got to sort of see the roadmap, even of your partners, to know, because it takes time to get to those things and get those features put in. The access that we got was incredible. There was things shown today that we may or may not have seen off the record ahead of time. But knowing those things helps us prioritize our roadmap, and also having expertise up front is important, and especially on the watch. With Tizen, it's. Let's be honest, it is sort of a different kind of platform. So having the expertise is important. So if you're going to go there, it's great to have a partner like Samsung that'll help you with those resources if you don't have them on staff, et cetera.
Just a reminder that all of the off-the-record stuff that you're sharing here will be on YouTube, which is a totally private channel, super secret. Good. I don't know, Simon, anything that you wanted to?
No, a little bit related to what he said, that Made for Samsung is almost an ongoing SDC, kind of a perpetual SDC. But it's amazing how much kind of networking we've been able to do, especially since our product really depends on different kind of links to different kind of devices. So from the mobile to the wearable, but then next thing is like we were introduced to the Samsung Health Group, and from there we introduced to equipment manufacturers. So now we're actually working on how can we make this a seamless experience between fitness equipment, Samsung wearables, and our content. And so yeah, it's amazing what kind of connections, even to like fitness organizations or athletic departments, and so it's an amazing kind of networking.
Right. So obviously Samsung is a massive organization. It'd be interesting to hear your experiences working with your contacts at Samsung, kind of beyond, to riff on that point, Simon, like how have you been ushered through the organization? Has this program helped you navigate or been no value add? How has that worked for you?
No, that's exactly, yeah, like it's very easy. Like, hey, I would like to talk to Samsung Health people right away. We get set up with the right contacts.
Yep.
And so that's been, I think, been very successful for us.
Yeah.
To really get in front of the right people. And
yep. Communication's been good?
Yeah, very good.
Great. So I can share on Yelp's side, we started working on the Yelp for Samsung app, which had the unique city guide feature. And that relationship kind of, as we got going, we started seeing other opportunities. And I think from my perspective, this has been one of the real values that I've experienced in the program. First of all, and it all kind of shakes down from two things. One is I think the attitude and the outlook of the folks that I've had the opportunity to work with at Samsung. Prior to this conference, a very senior person at Samsung had a little call with us, and he said, "Hey, don't get up there and do a rah panel here. Let's be honest and open." And that's what my day-to-day interaction has been like with Samsung in this developers program, which has been kind of surprisingly delightful as we've gone through the process. But so we started with that. I started getting to know the team, and opportunities kind of started coming in, things that I wouldn't have necessarily considered, but opportunities that led to developing the Edge panel and being really supported in that, which then led to getting actually bundled onto the new S8 device, which at Yelp we thought was a real big win and a neat opportunity. We'll see how it goes. It's early days, but if everybody's familiar with the Edge panel, I was initially viewing this as sort of a kind of like an entry point to Yelp, a kind of the salty snack that gets you thirsty for the beer. And so far, what I've been discovering is that the engagement with that app is actually significantly higher than I would have anticipated. So I'm starting to do some rethinking about what that product might be going forward. But yeah, it's been a pretty great experience so far. I've been really happy with it. All right, so as we all know, we're developers because we like to build cool stuff. But it turns out we also like to have people use our products and services. Be interesting to talk a little bit about the types of users that you're finding through this program. Are they distinguishing themselves from other users that you discover, or?
I would say in general, from just the initial views that we have into our users, I would say they're probably right now they're the upper tier of spenders. As far as, of course, Samsung, the higher-end Samsung devices, come with a premium, but also the product that they buy from us, the golf courses they go to, et cetera, tend to be the more premium golf courses.
Yeah, for us, we find that the users on ours, like you mentioned earlier, that the research and development, the testing out of new features and seeing what the impact those have on our users. We find that so with our Edge panel and our events feed features, we get really good engagement with those on the devices. So once you get into the Edge panel and you start using, we find that people that actually go into the main app from that is a really much higher percentage than what we have for, say, just a regular widget or something else on the phone, or from you're seeing things on your Edge, you're looking at your Edge panel, you're going into the app way more, your stickiness is way higher for those.
So stickiness is higher, they're spending a little more. It's interesting.
It's a good combo.
Right, and it's very targeted, right? So we're a partner app within Samsung Health, which is obviously a huge audience.
Yeah.
And people are already looking to improve their health, right? So that's a really big win for us. The other one, once again, is wearable, because our product doesn't really work without a wearable. So having that audience, somebody already bought a wearable, Samsung wearable, they're looking to have, to expand the experience of that product. So it's a very high-quality audience for us.
Yeah. So Kevin and Steve are both shipping globally with this program. Is that right?
That's right.
By globally, like how globally are we talking about here? How many territories are you going into?
I don't remember the exact number of countries, but it's I believe it's in the order of 20 some odd countries. But we go to Europe, Asia, South America. Like I said, it really helps with having Samsung's reach to help have their marketing help us get out into those markets where our brand really isn't known as well as it is in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'd say, well, right now we're heavily U.S. because, we have to have the golf courses at play. UK is also there, and Australia. So those are the big three for us. Outside of the U.S., similar to Weather Channel, Golf Channel is not really that well known. It's known, quite well here. So having any kind of extra marketing, push from any partners is always a plus for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a good example of a partner pushing us because Samsung basically, we are being heavily focused on the US and English, so with our content, right? But with our next project with Samsung, we would just put a notice that we need to deliver in 9 languages. So we're working feverishly on creating a new content tool that allows for easy content generation, so we can basically hand over that tool to a coach in Korea or a coach in Spain and can create localized content very quickly. So this is our next big project.
So on the theme of finding great users and customers, what about incrementality? I mean, somebody could make the argument that you would have found these users anyways. Do you feel that this program is helping you find new users who you wouldn't have other found? Is it just a matter of time to find them anyways, or is this program helping you get there, not just faster, but get there, period?
I'd say for us, we can tell that we can see just via the numbers, it's not even opinion, that we are getting net new customers via this way, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, we're certainly getting a benefit from it. Like I said, especially in the international markets where we're not nearly as well known, and having the marketing push for us is helping getting incremental new customers in for the app.
Yeah. So there was a interesting, I thought very interesting study published by Business Intelligence perhaps a few weeks ago that showed, and I believe this is for the first time, that showed that the amount of commerce and transactions that were occurring in the SA Plus were beating the top devices on that other platform that we don't have to mention here, but you might be familiar with it. Which is a pretty interesting development. In my experience, I had always seen data that showed, the opposite. How are you finding, you're acquiring these new users on the Note 8, other flagship devices. These are not low-end devices. These are beautiful pieces of hardware with beautiful software accompanying it. Like, any light you want to shed on how these users are stacking up against folks on the other iOS?
You said it.
Yeah. I mean,
somebody runs out in black and tackles me. This is really, you'll know why.
I mean, really, for us, we really aren't targeting premium users per se. So, for y'all's apps, targeting the more premium users is more important. But for us, we're really trying our aim is to expand our user base and increase our impact in protecting people across the world from major weather events. And so, having this get into the hands of more people worldwide and expanding the Weather Channel's impact and protecting people from weather events is really where we're going with it. And having our unique feature set out there and the marketing help to get us in those markets is really what we're aiming for and what's been a great impact for us.
Yeah, I would say that going back to what I covered earlier, I'd say golf is a disposable income, commodity, and you can definitely see if somebody's willing to step up and spend more on the technology that they are more than likely going to spend more, on the fun that they're going to have with the technology. So we've definitely seen that.
Yeah, I agree on that. As the devices become more desirable, and especially as the wearables are more advanced than the competition, I think we'll see a shift on where the clients.
Yeah, at Yelp, we've seen, historically, we have over-indexed significantly on, particularly domestically, on iOS users, and interestingly, they've also had higher LTV, higher retention. However, and so I think where I work, there is often a view that there's kind of like two key segments of users, iOS and Android, and I'm now kind of in a position where I see there's three segments. There's iOS, there's Samsung users, and then there's Android users, because really they're distinguishing themselves in that on that OS in terms of retention, LTV, and really just getting involved in the app, which has really been gratifying to see. So theme for this year's conference is connected thinking. Be interesting to discuss how participating in the Made for Samsung program has connected the dots for you across Samsung. We've touched on it a little bit, but I think there's some other things that we could dig into that might be kind of interesting. Like you had mentioned you can see from the side of the edge panel device what the weather is. Could you tell us about that? That's a pretty deep integration, right?
Yeah, as deep as the say the edge panel is. So you've got the edge mode on your edge devices. So one great thing about the Samsung devices is that they offer some unique features that no other devices have that we've been able to leverage to provide pertinent data to people and basically add value and alert them in different ways. And so on the edge devices, you can see weather alerts if something's coming along. You've got your phone sitting next to your bed. In the middle of the night, you can glance over to it and see your alerts coming across on the edge. From the connected standpoint of the question, I guess you can have, like I said, we've got apps for the Gear S2 and S3 watch devices, and so you can see on your watch, on the new Gear S3 app that we published, you've got maps where you can look on there and see what the weather is instead of having to open up your phone and go into the map and see where the weather is. So kind of that's the main, I guess, connected piece to what we built.
Yeah. Cool. Anything you want to add?
I mean, for us, it goes back to what I touched on earlier, is like what kind of connections you make within that ecosystem, right? We started out as a consumer-centric fitness app that was kind of focused on the athletic side of things, but now we're talking to enterprise wellness, so they're really looking for digital coaching. We're talking to large gym chains. They want to have a connected gym experience. Where not only for coaching, but also like the whole, you check in with your Samsung wearable, you pay your kale smoothie with your Samsung wearable. So that really opened up a whole new world for us. So to really, in addition to consumer market, we go into enterprise and connected gyms and.
Yeah, good. I don't know, anything to add to that,
or? No, I think I think it plays into all of our. I think it should be playing into everybody's world here. I mean, gone are the days you build for web, build for this platform or that platform. You have to have SDLCs that, and tools and partners that can allow you to build for multiple things. Going back to the ubiquitous word that they kept using today. For us, like right now, we just touch on, the play side of golf now in some ways we've discussed. We partnered with some partners, I won't say the names, with voice, et cetera, to mix success. A lot of the things shown today, I think that the way it's being executed is a lot better. And so we'll probably expand more into not just, watching, golf. We'll probably do more in that world with Samsung, but also going into more as we go into the lifestyle and being connected to the game of golf, no matter where you're at. So I think that a lot of that plays into us and everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I could say from Yelp's perspective, connecting the dots has certainly been my theme, so it's kind of funny to see that it's the theme of the conference this year. But you know, our integrations span from voice-enabled search for local to a integration into the dialer, these apps that we've developed specifically for Samsung, and yeah, I think our big takeaway, or at least mine, has been Samsung represents a pretty significant ecosystem of things that we are aware of and things that we are currently not aware of, but we know are cooking right now in a pot in some lab, and the likelihood that we're going to get an early peek at it is increased significantly based on my experience so far, which has certainly been helpful, particularly when you know, as I've gotten to know more people at Samsung, and when I can actually introduce the Samsung people to each other, you realize what a massive ecosystem it is, and so to be able to tap into that, connect those dots, I feel like we're building a relationship and a product platform that is going to benefit Yelp users. So it's been pretty fun. So let's talk for a few minutes about what it's like to work with Samsung, or what kind of value you can extract from Samsung based on the stage you are as your company or as a developer, right? Like Yelp is in the position where we're a top 20 web property. We have more than 100 million uniques every month. You know, adding in 10,000 new users a day is not really going to totally move the needle for us. Mm-hmm. Whereas there's some developers in very early stages out there on the floor who that might absolutely be a game changer. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on how size and scale relate to your relationship with the Made for Samsung program.
I'll go.
Please.
Sure. For us, this is where the R&D aspect really plays a big role for the impact of Made for Samsung program. So for us, we've got a huge number of users on our flagship app, and rolling out new features to them has a large impact on our business. And so to be able to work with the Made for Samsung program and get new features out into the market, we can do it very quickly. We do it with Samsung's help. We get their input on design and on quality. We get QA help to make sure that we're putting out top quality products that work well on Samsung devices across the board. And we get to push out new features that may or may not be a big hit with our audience. And so we get to push that out, see the impact, and then take those features that have been tested in the market, live in the field, and move those into our flagship product once they prove themselves out. So that's a huge impact, huge win for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can see both sides, you know, whether you're a small lab, small development group, or one that's the size that we have. You know, as I said earlier, you know, it's valuable to us in a large organization even to pull in 1% more of the users that we couldn't get through other channels. But I think when you're in a startup world, which I've lived in that too, so I've probably talked a lot about it getting started, sometimes it's good to, you know, focus more on the technology and the partner that's going to give you the most features to differentiate you, especially nowadays when there's just so many apps in every store, et cetera. You got to sort of go and specialize. You just aren't going to be the next generic app out there anymore.
Right.
So I think both ways, you know, both sides can get a lot of value out of this program.
Yeah, for us, you know, it's a small, kind of like small startup. This is definitely huge, right? We really grow organically. We don't really advertise at all. So being in front of a high quality audience like Samsung and Samsung Health is absolutely.
So for you, this is a big growth story.
Absolutely.
Whereas at the Weather Channel, this is like a more nuanced. It's obviously a growth story from an international perspective, but you also look at it as an opportunity to test new features, reach certain segments of the market, and take learnings away that you can deploy elsewhere?
Oh, absolutely. And we also get benefits that kind of bleed over into our main flagship application because the QA assistance that we get, we do it, our QA ourselves, obviously, but then we also get input back from Samsung on how our app is working on their device. And so since the Made for Samsung app is a superset of our main app, that QA feedback on one of the largest device sets that we deploy on bleeds into our flagship product as well. And so we get kind of a double benefit there.
Double benefit, double dipping.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it.
Not just volume, but also like credibility, right? To be partner of Samsung really opens doors into other spaces, right?
Right, that makes sense. Well, so that was the conversation that we had hoped to present today. We wanted to open up the floor if there were any questions from folks out there in the audience. Yeah. Oh, you have a microphone on its way right over to you.
Hi, so I understand the benefit you share, the value of becoming partner of a Samsung made for Samsung program. So I understand that this is invitation only program, right? Not is open market, everyone can come in for beauty contests, etc. So understand afterward, but for aspiring, the developers, company trying to be partner, what it takes to become partner, how you get selected, what advice do you have to be invited in a way?
Sure, I can start. I think there's a couple points that I would mention. One is, to confirm, you're exactly right. This is not a program that's open to all developers. I would put on your empathy cap and think about what can you bring, what does your product uniquely bring to Samsung, and what kind of cool ideas can you put in front of Samsung that will create special, unique experiences for their users. And I think that's a great way to start a conversation. And based on my experience today, it doesn't necessarily matter if you're a household name or you're in relatively early stages. If you can sort of find the correct fit and the correct use case and get them excited, then there's a door that's potentially open for you.
Absolutely, and there are a lot of Made for Samsung people from Samsung here today, so you may want to go and talk with them if you're interested.
Yeah, if in case anybody missed it, right outside the door, there's that Made for Samsung area there, and there's definitely a number of folks there, some of whom are wearing Samsung shirts. I see one guy over there, right there. Anyways, it's a great bunch of people, and so I would say just approach them, introduce your project, and see if you can get some interest. Yeah. Good thing to know for everybody, in case you're not familiar, the Samsung Galaxy App Store is not it's unlike the Google Play Store. This is a much more curated environment. So even just getting into that App Store and developing for that is a really interesting place to kick off that relationship with Samsung. Yeah. Anybody else out there have any? You got these top developers here. All right. Oh, yeah, please. No, here, why don't you ask again on the mic, just for the benefit of future generations.
I might have missed it. Do any of you have an app on a smart TV? Heads nodding, no, yes.
Anybody?
Okay.
No, we
remind
don't.
them. Thank you.
We don't yet.
Want to.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Well, I mean, actually, I'll leave it there. Any other questions out there today? Okay, well, thank you so much to the panelists, and thanks to Samsung for having us here today. We appreciate it. Thank you.